At the beginning of the season, I feel like everyone had this game circled as what could have been an NFC championship preview. Now both of these teams are fighting for their playoff lives. I mean, the Rams offense has been horrible. They rank 31st in the NFL in yards per play, and it has to do a lot with their O-line, 28th in quarterback sack percentage. Tampa Bay ranks third in quarterback sack percentage too, so you can see they might be able to take advantage of that. But the Bucs, I feel like their advantage is going to be on the defensive side. And coming from a defensive guy like you, can Tampa Bay's defense shut down the LA Rams and maybe get back into the win column?
I mean, they should be able to. I mean, a lot of other teams haven't had any issues doing it. I mean, I know sometimes you enjoy my notes, and the one note I have on this game is that if both teams play down to their floor, this could be one of the ugliest games that we'll see all year. And so I remember referencing like Gary Busey's DUI picture. Like I feel like this would be something along the lines of if Gary Busey and his DUI picture were to marry Flavor Flav and his DUI picture. You put both of those
Oh
together,
man.
how ugly those two pictures
Yikes.
are. That's what this game could look like if both of these
We're
teams play
talking about
down to the
rock
basement
bottom.
levels that we've seen. I'm talking
Rock.
about just
Mhm.
Yeah.
nasty. I hope we don't see that because at the same time, I mean, look at that matchup that we saw last year against both of these teams twice. I think it was last year where they first played
Hmm.
in LA and then in Tampa Bay, where those are like some of the better games that we've seen like all 2021, where both of those offenses were electric. You're playing against really good defenses, so they'll make their plays here and there. But I mean, you're looking at Matthew Stafford playing some of the best ball that he's ever played in his entire life, and that's including the guy who played with Calvin Johnson for a whole bunch of years. And then you have Tom Brady looking like he's still 25 throwing the ball around the Mike Evans, AB, and everyone else. I mean, that was just a beautiful. Was AB still on the squad then? Probably not. No, he was already gone. He had already done the little victory lap in New York. But I digress. But I mean, but now we're going to these two teams where they just can't get right on both sides of the ball, it seems like. And so I really don't know what to expect in this matchup. Like, I don't want to kind of like waste more time than we have because I know people got things to do. So I would just say this that I can see both of these teams magically getting back on track on offense and scoring a lot of points or still playing ugly ball. And I can see the same thing happening from both of these defenses, either playing super high or super low. So honestly, this is a game that I probably wouldn't touch because the variance is so wide on this that I really couldn't tell you something I feel strongly about in these matchups.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how both of these teams come out in this game because both of them have a lack of confidence at this point. The Rams are getting 2.5 points though, Jared, and they're 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 meetings between these two teams. Can they take advantage and make that 10-1?
I think the Bucks win this game. If you were going to ask me
Yeah.
the lesser of two evils here, I think the Bucks are playing a little bit better than the Rams are, especially up front. So the Rams' offensive line is an issue.
Yeah.
And what I think's
So
starting to
bad.
happen here, if you want me to look big picture, I think the Rams' roster construction, their strategy, is now starting to rear its ugly head. They've kind of robbed Peter to pay Paul the last few years. They went after guys like Von Miller and Odell Beckham, and they gave up a lot of draft capital to get those guys. Well, now the Rams haven't drafted inside the top 75 in 7 years. They just don't care to make
Wow.
draft picks. I mean, so, and again, that doesn't really matter, I think, short term. But if you elongate that trend, now you have a
Yeah.
lack of depth at key positions.
Exactly.
And now the offensive line depth with 3 week one starters currently on IR is really becoming an issue. The Rams are getting no movement up front. They can't protect Matthew Stafford. They don't have a running game. And those
Yeah.
things do not equal success in the NFL offensively. So
Yeah.
to me, that's the bigger issue between these two teams. The Bucks have some injury issues on defense. Shaq Barrett, huge. And of course, the secondary is still a little bit banged up. So the Rams maybe can find an edge there. But again, they're
But
not
Cooper Cup's
protecting
banged up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Cooper Cup with
On
his
the other
ankle.
side, Cooper
Hmm.
Cup's questionable this week. So I kind of like the under here. I mean, I see this being like 21-17 at its peak. And I could very easily see the Flavor Flav, Gary Busey 13-10 kind of game too. Or, God
Yeah.
forbid, 9-0 like we saw a Bucks Saints game last year.
Oh, please
So,
don't put that evil on us.
right? I
Please
mean, I
don't
don't
put
even
that
want to
evil
go
on us
there,
football
but
gods.
that did happen in a primetime game. So There's some things to support the under. I think there's some things to support the Bucs. And if you're Sean McVay, you're supposed to be the wonderkind. Figure it out, bud, because this offense still has some weapons, but the offensive line is it's a sieve. And if you're not getting movement, it's hard to say that you're going to have sustained offense in this league.